Good afternoon and welcome to live coverage of the donation of COVID-19 Pfizer vaccines by the government of the United States of America and the government of Dominica. This ceremony is taking place at the Douglas Charles Airport, and the aircraft carrying the vaccines, 46,500 doses of the Pfizer vaccines, have arrived here at the Douglas Charles Airport. It arrived about 15 minutes ago. It was set to arrive right about this minute, 2:26, but it was an early arrival. Already at the airport, the Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt. I've also seen the Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre. I've also seen the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that is Mrs. Barbara Daly, as well as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, who happens to be the chairperson of today's handing over ceremony. They are expected to be remarks from the Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre. Remarks from Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Relations and Diaspora Affairs, as well as Mr. David Shiner, the Deputy Chief of Mission and representative of the White House and the U.S. government, as well as Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt. There will then be the handover of the vaccine, and then the vaccines will be transported to the central medical stores. This is the arrival of the first tranche of the vaccines. In total, I believe we are expected to get some 46,500 doses, but this is the arrival of the first tranche. I believe that sometime later, the rest of the vaccines will arrive. The vaccines arrive via an aircraft of FedEx, the well-known courier company, and it is here now. The plane has landed. It is on the tarmac, and if you look at your screens, you will see that there are a number of officials around the aircraft at this time. Those listening on radio, it's a small single-engine prop plane, the FedEx plane, and it has arrived here at the Douglas Charles Airport some 15 minutes ago. A formal handing over ceremony is to take place at the executive lounge, the new executive lounge. The $1.4 million facility was constructed earlier this year, and it is really a beautiful facility here at the Douglas Charles Airport. So, with that said, we are at the formal ceremony, but as you can see, and as you'll continue seeing on your screen for the time being, the plane is being offloaded. The vaccines are then to be handed over and then transported to the central medical stores. So this is what is going on here at this time, and we'll continue to monitor the situation and continue to report to you. We now see that the Prime Minister has led the delegation of government officials here at the airport towards the aircraft, and the Prime Minister will assist in the unloading of the vaccines from the aircraft. Dr. Irvin McIntyre is here as well. I see the Permanent Secretary. I see also the Chief Medical Officer. I've also seen Mr. Benoit Badwell, and we can see now Prime Minister Skerritt and Dr. McIntyre offloading the first batch of the vaccines from the aircraft. They are now taking photographs, and we want to say thank you to the government and people of the United States of America. The United States and Dominica have been close bilateral relations since we achieved independence in 1978, and they continue to support us in areas of development, such as presenting this donation of these vaccines here today. The vaccines the first batch of the vaccines have been removed from the aircraft and placed in a vehicle belonging to the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. The second batch is being offloaded now and also being placed in the vehicle, and as you can see, it is Prime Minister Skerritt and Dr. Irvin McIntyre doing the honors as to offloading the vaccines from the aircraft at this time. 46,500 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine was recently approved by the Food and Drug Administration of the United States of America, and that is indeed a big step in the fight against COVID-19. Dominica has had vaccines from the government of India, from the government of China, and now today we now have vaccines, a gift from the government of the United States of America. Following, they will make their way here now to the executive lounge at the Douglas Charles Airport, where a short ceremony will take place that will be chaired by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt is leading the way. He is accompanied by who I believe is Mr. David Shinier, Deputy Chief of Mission and representative of the White House and the U.S. government. The Prime Minister is walking along the Douglas Charles Airport there, this lovely alleyway here. At the Douglas Charles Airport, I noticed that on my way here to the airport, a lot of green and beautiful flowers outside, and it's the same inside as well. So Prime Minister Skerritt will lead the way into the VIP lounge at this time, where the ceremony will take place. The ceremony, donation of COVID-19 Pfizer vaccines by the government of the United States of America to the government of Dominica. And there you see Prime Minister Skerritt just making his way into the building at this time, and very soon they will enter the building and a ceremony will take place. We get a good shot here of the airport, and we see bringing up the end there is the Chief Medical Officer as well as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. We also see the Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, the Minister for Health and Wellness, as well as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that is Mrs. Barbara Daly. So very soon the ceremony will begin. Very soon the ceremony will begin as Prime Minister Skerritt has entered the building here. So we will hand over very soon to the chairperson of this event, that is the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. So we stay tuned. Very soon the ceremony will begin.
everyone. We just witnessed the arrival of the Pfizer vaccine in Dominica. And as we begin this handover ceremony of the donation of Pfizer vaccines by the government of the United States of America to the government of Dominica, let me recognize the presence of the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Mr. David Shiner, Mr. David Schneer, Deputy Chief of Mission and representative of the White House and the U.S. government, Mr. Joe Todella, Political Chief at the U.S. Embassy to the Eastern Caribbean, Dr. David Johnson, Chief Medical Officer, Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Barbara Daly, Mr. Douglas Fisk, First Secretary at the U.S. Embassy to the Eastern Caribbean, Mr. Benoit Badwil, CEO, DASPA, the media, and the listening public. As we continue with the ceremony, I would like to invite Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, to give remarks.
Let me first recognize the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dr. David Schneier, Deputy Chief of Mission and representative of the White House and the U.S. government, Mr. Joe Torodella, Political Chief at the U.S. Embassy to the Eastern Caribbean, Mr. Douglas Fisk, First Secretary at the U.S. Embassy to the Eastern Caribbean, Mrs. Letitia Lestrade White, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Mrs. Barbara Daly, Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Foreign Affairs, International Relations and Diaspora Affairs, Dr. David Johnson, Chief Medical Officer, Mr. Benoit Badwil, Chief Executive Officer, Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, the media, and to those of you listening at home. Pleasant good afternoon to everyone. Today it's really a great day for us, and we're pleased to be here to receive this donation of vaccines from the U.S. government. It's the same vaccine that's used in the U.S., it's the same vaccine that will be used here in Dominica, and we really appreciate this donation. And actually it comes at a very timely and opportune time when we're just in the middle of our vaccine rollout program. So obviously this is going to give some impetus and augment our whole vaccination activities. And by this, I think we can definitely get to the certain percentages that we want. Obviously, our aim is to get to herd immunity. And with this donation here, I think it's really going to augment our vaccination program in Dominica and definitely bring up our percentages as well. It's important to note that such donations come at a time when we have to recognize that it's only when everyone is safe. And for everyone to be safe, it means everywhere has to be safe. So we can only be safe if everyone is safe. And this is a level of multilateralism that we really appreciate, where countries can come together and to fight a common enemy. And as we know, vaccines, together with public health and social measures, is one of the main defenses against the COVID-19. So having said this, receiving these vaccines, we are very sure that this is going to really help our fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. And together with our public health and social measures I've mentioned, I think we're in a much better place to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. So once again, from the Ministry of Health, I really want to thank and appreciate what the United States government has done for us here. Very timely, very opportune donation, and we appreciate this very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I would now like to invite Mr. David Schneer, the Deputy Chief of Commission and representative of the White House and the U.S. government, to give remarks.
Good afternoon. With permission, I will remove the mask so you can hear me better. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister of Health, other officials, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Schneer. I am the Deputy Chief of Mission of the United States Embassy located in Bridgetown for the Eastern Caribbean. Today is my very first visit to Dominica, and there's no better occasion than to be here with a concrete symbol of our partnership and donating this life-saving shipment of 11,700 Pfizer vaccines. We're doing this because we're focused on matters of the health and safety of the people of Dominica and indeed of the world. Today's donation of 11,700 Pfizer vaccines is just one tranche of several that will eventually arrive in Dominica, totaling 46,800 vaccines. This is part of a $5.5 million donation by the United States people and government of Pfizer vaccines to the CARICOM community. And it's a symbol of our ongoing solidarity with the people of the Eastern Caribbean region as they recover from this devastating pandemic. These Pfizer vaccines that we've delivered today are the same vaccines that all Americans are receiving and the same doses that the United States is sharing elsewhere globally. We know that Dominica takes this pandemic seriously, and we know that vaccines are the fastest way to end it. The fact is, too many Dominicans, too many Americans on this island in the United States and worldwide have died from COVID-19. And the cooperation we're demonstrating today shows that we are choosing facts, science, transparency to save lives. President Biden has committed the United States to providing vaccines around the world because he understands, as the Honorable Minister has just said, that no one is safe until everyone is safe. I'll say it again, no one is safe until everyone is safe. Pandemics know no borders, and we are in this together as partners. Our demonstration of over 46,000 Our donation, of 46,000 Pfizer vaccines, again, is a concrete demonstration of our partnership and complements the vaccines the United States has already made available to Dominica through the COVAX facility, including 28,800 AstraZeneca vaccines that were donated in April. As you know, the Pfizer vaccine is the only vaccine currently approved for use in children 12 years and up, and the Pfizer has already requested permission for authorization of children as low as 5 years old, which will help get our children back to school. Before I close, I want to be clear that this is a donation. We're not selling these vaccines. We're giving them to countries in need, Dominica and others. There are no strings attached. We're not asking for anything in return whatsoever. This is America helping the world and the world helping America. As I said, we're in this together. Finally, I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Health, other officials, and all of those here in Dominica for working with us, with the United States, and with the international community to take these steps to restore health and prosperity in this region. With that, I close. Thank you again for the time and energy you've all spent battling this pandemic, and we will continue to do so together as partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schneer. I would now like to invite Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, to give remarks and to address us.
I think I am 6 feet apart, so let me first of all apologize for the absence of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's actually meeting with representatives of the U.S. government this afternoon. The CARICOM foreign ministers are having a meeting with the State Department. So he was trying to be present, but not missing the meeting that's ongoing. But I will assume the portfolio of Minister of Foreign Affairs this afternoon. I want to first of all recognize my friend and colleague, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, our Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Mr. David Schneier, Deputy Chief of Mission of the U.S. Embassy in Barbados, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, and also the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Joe Torradella, the Political Chief of the U.S. Embassy, Mr. David Johnson, our Chief Medical Officer, Mr. Bino Badwell, our Chief Executive Officer of DASPA, and Mr. Douglas Fisk, our First Secretary in the U.S. Embassy. Let me first of all extend a special welcome to Mr. David Schneier, who is the Special Representative of the White House and Deputy Chief of Mission, and his staff from the United States Embassy based in Barbados, who have traveled here to present this most valuable gift to the people of Dominica on behalf of the United States of America. This event is of particular significance to us as we contend with a surge of COVID-19 infections in Dominica. Over the past 2 months, our health system has been stretched to capacity as healthcare providers and support staff continue to work around the clock to contain the spike in cases, in addition to providing regular health services to all our other citizens in need. Believe me when I say to you that the efforts have been nothing but heroic. Dominica has been fortunate in that very early in our fight against this dreaded disease, we were able to respond by implementing policies and protocols in the interests of our citizens. Today, we are presented with additional support to secure the good health of our citizens, ease the burden on our healthcare workers, and continue our efforts at eliminating COVID-19 in our country. No doubt we face a common threat the world over, and it is important that we collaborate and assist each other in bringing an end to the greatest health crisis that we have had to deal with in this century. Our ability to test our citizens regularly, have vaccines readily available to be administered, as well as observing health protocols, are key weapons in our fight against this dreaded pandemic. Our response to COVID-19 has always been proactive and forward-thinking. Earlier this month, with the support of GMED Global, a US-based firm which delivers healthcare services worldwide, we began a drive-through testing system, providing citizens with a safe and convenient way to ascertain their COVID-19 status. My dear friend, I consider this generous donation by President Biden and the American people another major milestone in our continuing efforts to tackle the spread of COVID-19 among our population and indeed the entire world. Our vaccination efforts began in earnest in February 2021, and so far 44.6% of the adult population have been fully vaccinated. We have been able to reach these numbers due to the mobilization of vaccination centers across the island, as well as mobile units, which offer the opportunity for every citizen in every community to access vaccines. Today, the receipt of these, we'll eventually get 46,800 doses, but we'll get in receiving over 11,000 doses today of the Pfizer vaccine from the United States government will bolster our efforts to protect the health of our citizens and enable them to resume a normal life and engage in the conduct of business, trade, travel, and socializing. Additionally, the Pfizer vaccine recently received full approval from the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, of the United States. What is most encouraging for us in Dominica is that the FDA has approved the vaccine for safe use for children ages 12 to 17. And I want to take the opportunity to urge the FDA to approve of the request before it from Pfizer for children 5 and up, so that my 2 children could be vaccinated using the Pfizer vaccines here in Dominica. So we look forward to good news from the FDA. Your Excellency, on behalf of the people of Dominica, I offer my profound thanks to President Biden and his administration for the gift of these vaccines. I applaud the global leadership that President Biden has shown with regards to COVID-19 and the actions he has taken to curb the spread of this disease in the United States of America. President Biden has been exceptional in his leadership on a global stage in respect to COVID-19. His advocacy has no doubt brought about greater confidence in the international health governance system. I wish also to express our gratitude to the United States Embassy in Barbados for facilitating the transfer of the vaccines to Dominica. Your ambassador, and of course, Doug Fisk and others have been on the ball every single day, following the vaccines and following the freezer, showing a genuine interest in getting these Pfizer vaccines to Dominica. And words cannot express my gratitude to all of you at the U.S. Embassy. Excellency, we recognize also that these vaccines are costly and in very high demand. We again thank President Biden and his administration for this tangible show of support for small and vulnerable countries like ours, which stand to benefit most from quick and equitable access to the vaccines. I believe that as a global community, we must ensure that people of all nations are protected in our bid to control and end the pandemic. For no one is safe until everyone is safe. We in Dominica, we adopt this policy and this principle espoused by the President of the United States of America. Such partnerships as what we can see in action today give us the confidence that together we can and will stamp out this virus. As a nation, the arrival of the Pfizer vaccine here provides us with another opportunity to rally our population to the cause of collective action in the fight against COVID-19. The scientific studies all point to the fact that vaccination is our safest option for overcoming the worst of this pandemic. Vaccination is not a concept. Many diseases, which would have otherwise ravaged the world's population over hundreds of years, were eradicated through the use of vaccines. In the case of the coronavirus, we have witnessed the extraordinary success of scientists and vaccine manufacturers to develop and distribute safe and effective vaccines in good time. And we again want to commend Pfizer for its leadership in that regard. The science and experiences around the world show that vaccination helps reduce the spread of COVID-19 and the risk of severe illness and hospitalization with acute symptoms. The numbers do not yet empower us to return to normal activity and movement, which will spur our economy to renewed growth. The pandemic, we know, has had severe impacts on our fragile economy, and the livelihoods of many are at risk. With recurrences of the virus, as we are now experiencing, the impact of the shock is likely to be long-lasting. The vaccines offer hope. Excellency, friends, with this gift of Pfizer vaccines, I am even more confident that we will be able to reach our goal to inoculate at least 70% of our population. I commend the thousands of Dominicans who have already taken their shots. We continue to urge every Dominican to act in the best interest of public health to help prevent the spread of this virus and the likely rise in the death toll. This week, the Ministry of Health will roll out the Pfizer vaccine for all children in Dominica within the approved age range, and I take this opportunity to seek the cooperation and support of all parents in getting their children vaccinated against this deadly virus. The Pfizer will also be available to adults who wish to be vaccinated. Once again, I reiterate that it is not mandatory for any Dominican to take a vaccine, but I encourage all citizens to take advantage of this opportunity to protect the health and the well-being of their families and communities. Excellency, we treasure and value this generous gift from the government of the United States of America. And from my calculation, this gift which you have presented to us today is valued in excess of $2.8 million US, which is close to 8 million Eastern Caribbean dollars. So this is not a small gift. It's a simple ceremony, but a very huge gift from the government of the United States of America to the government and people of Dominica. And so, please convey our deepest gratitude to President Biden and his administration and the American people for this timely display of friendship and solidarity. We shall never forget this contribution of the American people. We view this as a true example of cooperation that prioritizes the health, safety, and well-being of all our people. You have my sincerest gratitude and that of the government and people of Dominica. I also had the opportunity to listen to the address of President Biden to the United Nations, and I took note in particular of his comments on climate change, a position which we share and which we adopt here in Dominica. That climate change is real, and climate change will require global action if we're to minimize on the impacts of climate change on all our countries. Dominica identifies with the policy of President Biden and the American people. And we are particularly grateful of his view of building with greater resilience, because this can certainly minimize the impact of climate change. And so we look forward to partnering again with the United States of America on the issue of climate change and working together to reduce the emission of carbon gases into the atmosphere. And we want to again express our gratitude to you for being here. It shows the empathy that the United States government has for us in Dominica, and with the sincerity of the offer of assistance, which we gladly accept on behalf of the people of Dominica. Rest assured that we know, rest assured, Excellency, that we'll continue in this fight together. We love the United States of America, and we know that the United States of America loves us too. And we look forward to this great partnership. God bless the Commonwealth of Dominica, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. And as we come to the end of our ceremony, on behalf of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, I would like to express our thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister for gracing us with your presence here this afternoon and for delivering remarks, to our own Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dr. Irvin McIntyre, as well, for your remarks, and to Mr. Scheer, the Deputy Chief of Mission, for gracing us with your presence. You said it's your first time to Dominica. We do hope that your stay, it might be short, but we hope that you enjoy it. I would also like to thank all those who contributed to the success of this ceremony. We look forward to the Pfizer vaccine, and I'm happy at last it is there. So thank all of you, and God bless.